Hi everyone, let's get into talking about the Spectra S1 and S2 today. So the Spectra S1 and S2 are going to be covered in only one video because they're very similar. So the Spectra S1 and S2 work the same exact ways, they have very similar features, but there's two main things that are different. The obvious, they're different colors. One has a blue faceplate, one has a pink faceplate. The other difference is the fact that the Spectra S1, our blue one over here, has a built-in rechargeable battery. And so that just means that it can charge like a cell phone and be used on the go. But overall, the pumps work the same exact way. So in our unboxing of the Spectra S1 and S2 today, we're going to be going through a few things. The first thing we're going to do is tell you what's actually in the box for these pumps. And then we're gonna go through how to set all of that up. Once we set them up, we're going to show you how to use it in a very basic sense, what Spectra recommends. And then we also will go through, some tips and tricks, care and cleaning, and things like that just to help you out on your way. By the way, if you haven't already ordered your pump through insurance, visit us at aceleron.com/order and we can help you get through that process. So let's start with special features for the Spectra S1 and S2. One of the things that you can see is on the back of the pump, one over here, the Spectra S2, this pink one, has a bottle here. And this bottle is something that's going to come in the kit, and we'll talk about that, but it's actually in a cup holder. So both pumps have a cup holder in the back, it is just one. Something to note about your cup holder is if you put the bottle in one way, it's really loose and it can fall out. But if you give it a twist in either direction, it will lock it in nice. Other than the cup holder, it also has a handle on both pumps. And this is just for carrying it. They're fairly lightweight. There's only about a ½ ounce difference between the S1 and the S2 due to that built-in rechargeable battery. You also have a nightlight on both pump motors. Now the nightlight works at 2 levels of brightness and it works whether the pump is on or not. Other than that, both pumps have the option of single or double pumping. And that can be done right on the front of the pump motor, and we're gonna get into that a little bit more later. Both pumps have a 2-year warranty, and that 2-year warranty will cover the pump motor itself. That pump motor is covered for things like it's not creating suction, your S1's not charging, things like that. Not necessarily like if you drop it, so be careful. But you do also have a 90-day warranty on your accessories, and that is anything that is outside of the pump motor itself. All right, so one of the most confusing parts of getting a new pump is figuring out what is what, right? What part is what, and they all have different names, and then how to put it together, and then how to use it. So before we even get to using it, let's talk about breaking down the parts, what they're called, what they can be referred to as, where you might find them, how to replace them, and then also putting them together. So I'll start with the pieces that you're actually using when pumping. So I have them all laid out here, and I'm gonna call them out bottom up. So I like to assemble mine bottom up and discuss all the collection kit starting at the actual bottle itself. So for both Spectras, you have a 5 fluid ounce storage capacity bottle, and you'll notice that it is indicated on the side how much is there, so you have that measurement, and they do have a cap available. So that cap is going to be a wide neck. The wide neck matters for a few reasons. First, the bottle set does come with nipples. It comes with 2 nipples, and those are a wide neck nipple. So if you're not using this as a feeding bottle, you can actually take the nipple right out just by pushing to the side. The nipple will come out, and then you have this open locking ring. This piece that looks like it might be storage or just an extra packaging piece is actually the full cap for a storage bottle. So you can go in between storage and feeding with that disc or the nipple here. So you also have the option of that wide neck where you have the nipple in place and you have this bottle cap. So this bottle cap is so that you can actually keep that nipple clean and from leaking. So that's why you have that there. When it comes to assembling the actual pump collection kit, it's a little bit different. We're going to put these pieces to the side because they're not needed for when we're actually pumping. So when we're pumping, we're going to start with our bottle. This is where your milk will actually be collected. Then we're going to move up into our actual collection kit. So we have a breast shield, also known as a flange here. For your Spectra kits, you're actually going to have 2 sizes included. So you'll have 4 of these total in the package. There's going to be a set of 24mm and a set of 28mm. Now, what does that mean? That measurement of 24 or 28 has nothing to do with the outside of that breast shield. It's actually the entrance of the tunnel. And that's because this is not about fitting your chest size, it is about fitting your nipple size. And so that's what that measurement is indicating and what they're referring to. We'll talk more about that later. Other than that, at the bottom, you'll see this little circle here. That is where your valve or your duckbill valve or your silicone valve, they're all referred to in slightly different ways. It's known affectionately as a duckbill valve just due to its shape. This is going to go on the bottom of the breast shield and just snap right on there. Now, it doesn't actually have any button to release it, to snap it on there. It's just a silicone piece that pushes on and can be taken off. When you take it off to clean it, you want to make sure you don't grab from the tip here. You want to grab more from the base. And that's because this is one of the parts of the pump that you're replacing really often, and part of why you're replacing it is if it gets too stretched out here. So pulling on it when you take it apart can stretch it out a little bit ahead of time. So you want to make sure when you're doing this, you're going to put it on nice and gently, and it doesn't matter what direction that line of the duckbill valve faces in. Your duckbill valve and your breast shield connects right to the top of your bottle, and it doesn't matter which way that faces. So that is the general collection kit. Now we're going to move into your backflow protector. So your backflow protector is what makes a Spectra considered a closed system. Now, closed system just means that there's a barrier to keep your tubing a little bit cleaner. And so this is your barrier. It's actually 3 pieces. I'm going to show you how to build it correctly, because if you build it incorrectly, it can fall apart while you're using the pump, and that is super frustrating. So we're actually building smaller to larger. You're going to start with the smaller of the 2 clear plastic circles, and you're going to take that protrusion and face it away from your body. You're then going to take that white silicone piece with the lip facing away from you as well, and that lip is going to go all the way around that smaller clear plastic, making sure it's fully sealed there. And you'll notice that that silicone does touch the center of that clear plastic piece. The larger clear plastic piece then has the protrusion facing you and also comes around the back. Again, making sure it's fully sealed. And you'll notice that that larger clear plastic piece does not touch the silicone in the middle. The next part is where this goes. So there's 2 sides of here. One thing you'll notice when you try it in here, one side will be really loose and not stay, and the other side will be nice and tight, and that's how you know which way it faces. And this should be all the way to the wall of that membrane or that backflow protector. Now the other side is going to be where your tubing connects, and your tubing also should connect all the way to the wall of it. So this is what your collection kit looks like when it's fully assembled. The next part of assembly is just connecting your tubing to the front of the pump motor. So I'll show you here. Earlier we mentioned single and double pumping on your Spectra. The single and double pumping is right on the front of the pump motor with these 2 ports. You'll notice that one port is open, and that's where I'm going to put this tubing. The other port is capped off with a little silicone cap. Now this is probably going to be a little tricky to get off, and that's okay, because you want it to be on there tightly. It's a silicone cap with a little silicone string that can come out and it can get lost. If it happens, just call Spectra. They'll help you get a little replacement for that. But that piece is really important, because when that's off, you have access to both ports, and that's how you're going to double pump. You would have both sets of tubing in both collection kits, and you would pump both sides at the same time. You may single pump, which is pumping just one side at a time. If you do that, you only have 1 tubing and 1 collection kit, and you have this open port. That port has to be blocked off, or else it will pull in air, and then you won't have suction on the side you're trying to pump on. So that's how you differentiate between single and double pumping for your session. So one thing I want you to know about Spectra is that it actually has the 2 sizes in the kit, right? Your 24 and 28mm breast shields, so that it fits you correctly, but they have other sizes available. Spectra gives you 2 sizes to help you find what size might fit you, but you may need a size outside of that. And so they have sizes that are smaller and larger for you to purchase either out of pocket or get through your insurance or through a seller on. So if you need an additional size, you can reach out to Spectra or you can reach out to us at Acceleron anytime you need those. So we're going to talk about how to use your Spectra S1 and S2 now. The only difference is that the Spectra S1 does not need to be plugged in to be used, but they will function the same exact way. There will be one minor change on your screen here though. So on this screen, this is the Spectra S1 and it is plugged in to charge. So you can see a battery indicator there. If I unplug it, that will go away while the pump is off. I want to remind you that your night light works whether the pump is turned on or off for the Spectra S1, and your S2 when it's plugged in, the same thing. Whether the pump is on or off, it will work. The power button is the blue button right on the front of your screen here. And you'll notice when you turn it on, the screen has a lot going on. Your battery indicator for the Spectra S1 is right at the top, and I have 2 levels of my 4 levels available on this charge. You also have this button right above, sometimes known as the bacon button. This is your mode button. You have cycle speeds with a plus and minus. Your cycle speed is how fast or slow the suction is. Cycles indicates how many cycles or sucks per minute. You also have your vacuum with a plus or minus. This is your suction strength, how high or low the strength is that's actually pulling on your body. So when you first turn either Spectra on, you're going to turn it on and hit that mode button immediately. You'll notice the 3 wavy lines from the button are also on the screen. And you can't change your cycles. And that's because that initial massage or stimulation mode is just to trigger your letdown. So you can't change it from 70 cycles because they want it to be fairly quick, but not usually as strong of a suction. So what I mean by strong is your vacuum strength. You want to start at level 1 and go up and up and up until it's uncomfortable, and then go back down 1. So you're using your highest comfort strength. There are 5 levels available in this first massage or stimulation mode. You're only here until you have your letdown, which means your milk start to flow. That usually happens in the first 1 to 2 minutes of pumping, which you have a timer right there on the center of your screen. Once you've had your letdown, your milk starts to flow into the bottle. You would hit that mode button again. You'll notice that the 3 wavy lines go away, and now you actually have cycle speed options. You have from 38 all the way up to 54. Now remember, it's just how many sucks per minute, so 38 sucks per minute or 54 sucks per minute. And it also is nowhere near that 70, so it's much slower. You want to find the pattern that is most comfortable for you. Most people are somewhere in the middle or maybe a little bit higher, but really listen to your body. The other thing you can change again is your vacuum or the strength. Before it was 1 to 5, now it's 1 to 12. Something about your Spectra S1 and S2 is that it does have the option of hospital strength. So you are able to use it at a very high suction strength. You don't need to use it at level 12 because it has 12 levels. You're going to do the same thing you did before, where you start at the lowest level, go up and up and up until it's uncomfortable, and then back down 1. Most likely you'll be at a higher strength in the second expression mode than you were when you were in that massage or stimulation mode. This is typically where you spend the majority of your pumping time. When you've finished pumping, all you need to do is turn your pump off. Something that both pumps do is they will have a memory, so they remember what levels and cycles you were on in both modes. It does not mean you have to use those next time, but you have that as a nice starting point. And again, just to turn your pump off, you have your power button right at the front. So now we're going to talk about cleaning of your pump and the pump parts, how to care for it, maintain it, things like that. In general, when we talk about cleaning, we recommend following the CDC guidelines that they have set out. So the CDC has set recommendations, and then each manufacturer gets a little bit more specific. So we'll talk about the general, and then we'll talk about little differences for Spectra. Now, what I'm talking about, this is the S1 in front of me, but it applies to both S1 and S2. And we're going to talk about which parts to clean and then also general ideas of how to clean them. The overall recommendation by the CDC is to clean your pump collection kit after every pumping session. So if you pump twice a day, you're cleaning it twice a day. If you pump more, you're cleaning it more. Now, outside of that, they also recommend sterilizing it. Now, this is especially important for any baby under 3 months old, any baby that was born prematurely, or any baby with a sensitive immune system. So for care and cleaning, We're gonna clean it after every pumping session, right? But what are we cleaning? The pump motor and the plug are never being submerged in water. So these two pieces are just gonna be wiped down, maybe a slightly wet cloth if something gets on the side, but you're not ever submerging those two. Your tubing should not ever get anything in it as long as the pump is used correctly. And that's again because of that backflow protector. So the tubing should not need to be cleaned. If any milk, moisture, or anything gets in your tubing, Spectra recommends cleaning it immediately or replacing the tubing. So that leaves us with our collection kit. So if you're just pumping with your kit, these are the parts that you're going to clean. If you're using it as a feeding bottle, the cleaning guidelines that I'm talking about also refer to this. So for cleaning the pump collection kit, you want to make sure that you fully disassemble it. So that includes taking the duckbill valve off and also separating the backflow protector into all three pieces. So when you're cleaning it, you have two options, the sink and the dishwasher. If you're going to clean all your parts in the sink, they're separated, you're gonna rinse off any excess breast milk, and then you're going to put them in a clean, separate bowl from the rest of your food dishes, fill it with warm soapy water, and they're going to soak for about 5 minutes. You wash as you normally would. They recommend using a non-antibacterial soap. And then also, you're going to just rinse them after you wash and let them air dry. You want them to air dry on a clean paper towel or on a clean dish towel. The other option of the dishwasher, you're going to still separate them and you're going to rinse off of the excess breast milk again. And then what you're going to do is put them on the top rack of your dishwasher. And this is on a wash cycle only. You want them to either air dry, but definitely not go into a hot or warm dry method in your dishwasher. So it really depends on your dishwasher and how it works. But top rack only, because if it goes below, these parts can melt or warp. We really don't want that to happen to your pieces. So how do you keep them on the top rack? They have bags, they have little plastic boxes and bins and type things, but just make sure it stays on your top rack for that wash cycle in your dishwasher. So that's the basic cleaning. That's the first recommendation. But remember that they also recommend that you sterilize it. Now this is at least once a day, morning, afternoon, or night, whatever works for you. But most people end up doing it at night, if we're being honest. So for sterilizing, there are 4 main options, and I'm gonna talk about them, but break them down for Spectra just a little bit. The first one is boiling. So when you're boiling your parts, they're all still separated. They're already cleaned because you cleaned them after your last pumping session. And then all you need to do is put them in a large stock pot of boiling water, and then all of your parts boil for at least 2 minutes. The silicone pieces that are in here, including your nipple, the feeding nipple, your duckbill valve, and the inside of your backflow protector. So these 3 pieces are going to come out at 2 minutes. So boiling water, take those pieces out at 2 minutes. The hard plastic pieces can stay in for 3 to 5 minutes. Once they come out of the boiling water, they just air dry. That's your first option. The second option for sterilizing is going to be the dishwasher. The dishwasher is something that is recommended by the CDC, but can be kind of tricky because it's usually a sterilized cycle, and that can be really, really hot and really long. It's not something that Spectra is necessarily a huge fan of. So while the CDC does recommend it, Spectra does prefer you sterilize in a different way. The other option is a micro steam bag. So micro steam bags, they look like a large sandwich baggie. You need to make sure that your parts are separated and you have the recommended amount of water in there and you're not over microwaving it. So these bags just create steam within there to sterilize the parts. So if you don't have enough water, it can warp them, and we don't want that to happen. The last option is a standalone sterilizer. This is something that you can use. You just want to follow the guidelines set out by each manual for that sterilizer that you have, because they're all a little bit different. All of these options are meant to work with you, your preferences and lifestyle. But before your first time pumping, Spectra recommends the warm soapy water in the sink and then the boiling methods. So washing your parts in the sink and then boiling them for the 2 to 5 minutes. Thanks so much for joining us to unbox a Spectra S1 and a Spectra S2. If you feel like you might need some more support in using your pump, reach out to us to do a one-on-one Unbox Your Pump. And this is virtual through Zoom. So it's just you and a pump expert, and we go through how to use your pump, and everything that we did here, but we have a little bit more feedback and you can ask some more questions, and it's really fun. The reason why we have this unboxing series and why we have those one-on-ones are because Acceleron is really about a health and wellness journey for families. So not only do we offer pumps, we also focus on the support prenatally through postpartum. And so we want you to feel supported from before baby arrives all the way back to your return to work and even beyond. Part of that is our website has a lot of different resources for you. Videos, articles, things like you're seeing here. To access all of the support that Acceleron has available, please visit us at our website at acceleron.com.